Hello there everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Oxygen Not Included here on Space Cam. As you can see, a few little bits have changed since the last episode. We opened up here and just cleared over this roof section on here, and we've also moved some of our plants over here, because the first thing we want to do today is turn this into a great hall, which is going to give us a nice amount of morale. And I am a little bit sick today, so excuse the voice, to say the least. But stage 2 is also, we're going to give these dupes some good, solid bathrooms, and we're going to explore towards the right-hand side here and see if there's anything that we can find that's worthwhile. And we want to start dealing with some of this carbon dioxide that's down here. So those are the 3 main points. 4 main points? 4 points. Always stick to 4 points, it's a nice number. And that's what we're going to do. So, first things first, we're going to wait for Gavin over here to finish up. Actually, what we can do is they have leveled up, actually. So, Deoxys, we're going to give him field research. And then Gavin, we're going to give him grilling too. What we can also do is he's maxed out his tree. So, let's turn him into a proper cook. We'll give him a hat. That'll be nice. There we go. And what we're going to do here is we're going to deconstruct all of these mealwoods. Or the planter boxes, let them move them over to this side. And we're going to dig up this so that we can finally turn that into a big room. And I'm going to start replacing some of these things with airflow tiles as well. I like the airflow tiles. They look good. So we'll slowly start doing that as we see fit. But that's going to be the first point of call. Why does that look like it's... hasn't got the deconstruct sign, which is interesting. So the next bit is we want to start thinking about toilets as well. So we did do a bit of research. We did get, where is it? We did get the sink and the lavatories, which is the first start. And then we also got the water sieve, which is the second start. And then we got some of the improved plumbing, which we don't need at the moment. But to start with, what we're going to do is we're just going to grab a couple points here. We're going to dig a nice little room. Let's say about 24 tiles. That should be okay. We'll throw in another one of these. And then I kind of want to explore this section a little bit more. So we'll come down here. We can dig up these plants. And then we'll go up this way. And again, we can kind of dig all these up and get the seeds if we wanted to, which would be nice. But that should give us a good indication of what's over on that side. So, how are we going to give them better toilets, you might ask? So, the first thing we need to do is have a look at plumbing. Coming over here to the lavatory, we can see that it has a input, which is the white. This is where your fresh water goes in. And then the green, which is the output, is where the polluted water goes out. So, we know roughly where they're going to be sitting in terms of tile location. So, what we can actually do is we can come over to plumbing, get our liquid pipes, and we can say, right, these are going to be all of the water inputs. The same with the sinks. They sit in the exact same location. We can connect all of these together. And then the same thing with the outputs. We can essentially just draw some piping like this so that all the water comes out together. And that would be a good start for us. The next thing is we need to do something with that polluted water. So we're going to come over here to refinement. We're going to get the water sieve. You can see that it's got the white for the input and the green for the output. So we're going to do something similar. We're just going to place this, let's say, down here. There we go. Then we're going to take our piping. And essentially what we're going to do is we know this is going to be the clean water. So we can come over here. Whoopsie. Yeah, let's put it through the floor, actually. We'll put it on the output. And then all the polluted water is going to come here into the input. And we can deal with... there's a secondary bit to it. It will always produce more clean water than it needs. So I don't know how it works. But there's always an excess, which we'll deal with pretty soon. But we need essentially a couple seeds in order for that to happen. So let's just build this. I'm also going to get a storage bin, which we're going to place just there. And that'll be a good start for us. There we go. And what we can actually do is if we wanted to, we could come over here, just dig out a little bit of extra space so that we can start filling in these gaps, which would be quite nice. They've done a good job over here. You can see we now have the mess hall of 64 tiles. I believe that is the maximum it can be. Yep, the great hall can be 120 tiles. But that's not what we're doing at the moment. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to get some flower pots, place that in there. Maybe we'll grab a hanging pot as well, just for the fun of it, and place that one in there. Now, these guys are going to be super busy. Research is come to a halt, so let's grab something else. What do we think we might need? I'm going to grab some of this automation stuff. Automation stuff definitely comes in handy. But we can see that calories at the moment, we're still doing okay, which is pretty good. What do we get the colony achievements? Use a duplicate skill to buy out the entire branch. That was the cooking that we managed to do. So I'm going to let them finish up and then we'll come back here in a second. There we go. So the guys have done all of the construction errands. We also threw in all the airflow tiles everywhere. So we're going to slow this down a little bit. And Oko actually got another skill point, which we're going to throw into improved construction as well, which would be quite nice. So we've got everything set up here in the storage bin. Essentially what this water sieve needs is it needs sand. So we're going to put sand into the storage bin over here. We just need to find out where it is exactly. Filtration medium, that's the one. So we'll get them to store that up. And what we do need is we do need some wire. So we're going to run that across. They can get building on that. And we're also going to start replacing some of these toilets. Just one or two for the moment. And we're going to need to get a clean source of water in here if we're going to want to start. So we're going to do that as well pretty easily. There's a couple ways we can do it. We can either add a bottle opener right here. And we can make like a bit of a pool of water and pump it on up. Or we can already have a pump in our clean water source. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I think it's worthwhile having that. And we'll just come over here and we'll stick a liquid bridge on it just to get the water started. And again, we're going to need some power. I'm just going to connect it up to this point. We're going to see how that goes. So over here, we're looking for a sink, which is on the medicine side of things. We want to deconstruct that toilet so that we can at least get the lavatory up and running. Come on, Oko. There we go, well done. So they will start building all of that. Right, so with this water pump coming up, there's a couple things that we can do. So I haven't actually connected it to the main power because I didn't want it to start pumping up water straight away. We could always just add a signal switch in here with some automation wire. That way we can actually control it, which I think is pretty handy. So we'll just prioritize that a little bit. I don't think they got any other construction errands, so that's fine. But yeah, that way we can actually just decide when we want to pump up some water. Because we only need a splash, really, to get us started. There we go. Come on, Gavin. Really? We'll actually connect the power now because that has an automation wire on. So it automatically defaults to don't use. So as you can see, we've got all of our stuff set up. Our clean water is going to come on here and it's going to jump. And if there's a space in this pipe, it's going to try and join it. And then as we see here, the outputs go into the input there. So this should be all okay. So we're just going to pump up a little bit of water. Turn it back on. There we go. Just need a few blobs to get us started. There we go. So these are ready to use. Perfect. Now that those are ready, what we can do is actually start deconstructing a couple of the other ones. So we're going to do that now. Also midway through the cycle, so they should be able to do that. We're going to come in here and grab... Let's get the insulator tiles. We might need that. There we go. It's nice having the large number of dupes that we normally have. So there we go. Pop that there. There we go. So you can see they've just started washing their hands, which the polluted water is going to come on over this way. Go in here and then get processed and then spat back out. Once there's enough, And there we go. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. There we go. And we'll get 2 of these. And there we go. Now we've got all of our plumbing set up. I think we'll be in a good spot. So we're going to let that continue. Then over here, we've got our hanging pots, which we're just going to add in any form of seeds. The briar seeds here have got a good amount of temperature range, just 10 to 30. That's fine for now, because we're sitting at 22.5. So we're just going to plant those plants up and we're going to see what happens. So next up, we wanted to deal with this carbon sink over here. So what we can do there is we do actually have, just trying to remember, it's in oxygen, a carbon skimmer. It uses water, spits out polluted water, but then gets rid of the carbon dioxide in the air. So what we can do is we can place that here. Yeah, let's place it there. I think that will be fine. And what we can actually do is start thinking about how do we want to automate this. So we could say here, the gas element sensor, we could say if it detects carbon dioxide on, let's say, this tile over here, which might not be a good idea if we have polluted water there. If it detects carbon dioxide, that's when you want to turn on. So we'll do that. We're then going to get power connected to it as well. And again, it uses fresh water and it spits out polluted water. So we're going to need to change some of these plumbing situations. So we're going to deconstruct that. We're going to disconnect this plumbing situation over here. And we're going to use this as the clean water pipe coming in. And then we'll run this up here, jump over, and connect to the polluted water. There we go. And that will go get cleaned. There we go. And on here, we can say gas element sensor. We'll say if it detects carbon dioxide, it can turn on. There we go. And how's this looking over here? We have a great tool now, which is a morale bonus of +6, which is nice. And we have a printing pod set up. So let's have a look. This is actually really good. So we've got Meep here has +7 husbandry, which is what we want if we want to get into ranching. Green Thumb, so increased agriculture, and Masterworks. He gets a tier 3 skill. That is really good. So, yeah, let's introduce Meep to the colony. But I got to get my list up. I want to see who's going to be named after a Meep. I have just the person. We're gonna give it to Jeff. So Jeff's gonna need an additional table there. He's got himself a cot. We're just gonna check his priorities. We're gonna give it priority in ranching and farming. We'll give him a higher ranching priority. Should be fine. And we can see Jeff here. We're just going to give him improved farming because that's going to work towards critter ranching and crop tending if we need to. And we'll have a look at schedule. Make sure that everyone's okay. I think he'll be fine on that schedule as well, especially with all the extra bathrooms that we've got going on. So welcome, Jeff. So these guys are just about to finish this carbon skimmer. And we can see that this automation gas element sensor can detect that there is carbon dioxide on there for a second. It's now polluted oxygen. But when it detects it, you can see it's turned green there. So we're just waiting for these guys to build the automation wire. All the piping has been completed, except for this bit, which will get that built rather quickly. There we go, and that will turn on as soon as it gets some water. Which we just need a little bit to get started. There we go. We're building some extra planter boxes because I think we're going to need it. We've got 7 dupes. We definitely need to make sure. So, you can see water starting to flow. It's coming over to this carbon skimmer, which is great news for us. The carbon skimmer uses and produces the exact same amount of liquid. So watch, it's about to hit. It's going to turn on. There we go. It's starting to use water, suck up carbon dioxide, and spit out some of the polluted water, which is pretty handy. So that's going to at least keep this down for the moment, because we've built this kind of pit. I'm going to leave some carbon dioxide there just in case we need it for something. See, these guys are filling up the sand. We're not going to run out anytime soon. So on this side over here, is there anything that we found of interest? There's a lot of iron ore over there. Got some paku, which is pretty nice. Always worth grabbing those. Other than that, we can see that there's a teleporter just there, I think. This unidentified farm, which seems to have pincher peppers in it. Some plastic as well, that's pretty good. There we go. And then we found the teleporter input. Otherwise, nothing too major, actually. We found the edge of the map. That's good to know. Now, we kind of want to go this way and find the edge of the map as well, but it's a bit warm. So we're going to have to think about that in just a second. Alright, since we've got this carbon skimmer up and running, what we're going to do is we're actually going to dig upwards for a bit. I'm going to come all the way over just to here, because I'm curious to see what's up further. But we do have loads of this carbon dioxide sitting over here, so at least this way we'll be able to deal with it. There we go. I don't want to dig into this biome just yet. May as well open... Do we want to open this? It's a vacuum, so I'm not actually too worried. Hasn't got any carbon dioxide in there, but as you can see, carbon dioxide starting to flow down. This guy's going to have to start dealing with it once it gets the water, which is slowly filtering around. That loop will eventually fill itself up, which is quite nice. Actually, this biome still expands out quite nicely, which is pretty good. So it's still a good temperature. That's a good temperature. This is a little bit warm, but you can see we've got a break in the abyssalite over here. So you can see here that got abyssalite on this section, which usually means this heat is going to leak out, but this is a vacuum, so it's actually not going to transfer any of that heat, which is perfect. Unlike here, that if this starts warming up, it's going to transfer the heat onto this section. So we're going to do a few little bits of additional automation at the moment, and one of them being the duplicate motion sensor. So we're actually just going to place that over here. What we're going to do is we're going to attach that to a light, a ceiling light, just with a nice easy bit of automation wire, which we'll just pop over there. And then again, we need to connect that to power. And then we'll do the exact same thing just over here by these research stations. So a little bit there, a little bit there. So we'll have a look. Pixel's going to come over here and run over here. So as she runs past the duplicate motion detector, there we go. It will light it up. And then as we can see, Gavin might be coming over to cook. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's going to go do something else, which is fine. But what's going to happen is you can see over here, Deoxys. They've got a lit workspace, which means they're actually going to do things 15% quicker, which is quite nice. And you can actually do that in the bathrooms as well to make them go just that a little bit quicker to the bathroom, which is quite nice. It's definitely worth noting, but it's definitely worth turning it off because they do produce a little bit of heat as well, which you can see here, 500 DTUs per second, which I think is dupe thermal units, I think is the name of it. So definitely worth noting, unless they all idle around this section, which is a bit weird for them to do. There we go. In terms of research, we are literally just picking what we can. At the moment, we're going for shipping and conveyors, because I got a plan for that, which is what we're going to need for a couple episodes' time. We haven't really got the skills for it at the moment. We've issued quite a bit of these sweep commands as well by using these storage bins. And what I've done is I've set these storage bins to sweep all, accept all, and just have a low priority, because if there's nowhere else for those resources to go, even with a sweep only command, they'll come here. But over here, what we've done is we've had a priority and we've just kind of set it all to 1. So if these guys have got nothing else to do, which you can see they're currently doing some digging errands, they'll just do some tidying up. We've got everything out of the pool. We've got everything out of the bedroom. We're now going to start getting everything out of the Great Hall as well, because you can actually see that on the decor overlay, it's not very good for the decor. Because these guys are offering about plus 66 there, plus 94, and then this really brings it down. The more stuff you've got, the debris just stacks up. So that's what we're going to be doing there, and we're digging down here because while everything's a good temperature, I kind of want to explore a bit more. I know we said that this was the only way that we were going to explore today, but we got a little bit of extra time, so let's see what we can find, right? We got our carbon dioxide under control, and we're digging down anyway, so we're going to have to remake this pit. So I think for now, what we're just going to do is we're just going to place a tile there, so that at least that will function if it does get up to that point, which I don't think it will. But you can see here, there's loads of carbon dioxide down here. So we'll be back when we find something of interest. So the dupes are finished with this ladder system, but as you can see, they do run out of breath quite quickly because there's so much carbon dioxide down here. Now, a couple things we could do is we could move the carbon skimmer all the way down there, which might not be a bad shout. It just means it's going to be quite a bit of piping that we need to go through. And as you can see here, we got a bit of a backlog of water now. Oh, printing pod. We've got to do that first. Let's have a look here. We've got a tidier, nitel, iron guts, increased creativity, irritable bowel. That's fine. Construction science, machinery, loud snorer, loud snorer. We don't want any of those loud snorers. This guy's not bad. Harold. Do we care? Is the honest question? Do we care? I think I'm going to take a snazzy suit. And let's give that snazzy suit over to someone, shall we? Let's give it over to... We'll give it to Deoxys. Because they're our researcher. They got to look like they can carry everything. So, as we were saying, we could start thinking about trying to siphon off some of this carbon dioxide, which would be a very good idea. Travel time is also a problem, but we researched the fire pole, which means we could actually start thinking about bringing this all the way down, which should actually help the guys quite a bit. Now, the one thing I'm not sure about is if they'll actually build it over the ladder. I'm actually quite curious to see. So why don't we prioritize this bit and see what they'll do. There you go. Let's have a look at Oko. Is he going to come down? He's going to come down the fire pole. Way. Look at the army of dupes that are currently working on this one. But yeah, it gives them a little bit of a quicker travel time. So they're just going to collect their breath. Obviously, this is a bit dangerous. Then if they need to, they'll jump down here and carry on. So with this ladder system finished, we've actually noticed that we've got something over here because of the neutronium. There's definitely a gas vent or a volcano or a geyser or something over here. And there are a couple ways that you can actually do it. You can just come over here and you can uncover it, or you can go to priority and you can see it actually has a priority. And if you set top priority, you could highlight it and it will actually tell you in the top left hand side. We're not going to do that, but we could in theory do it with this one. So you can see here, it's going to tell you this is a natural gas geyser. So that's one way to do it if we wanted to, but we're going to go and uncover it when we have the opportunity. So we've got all of this extra stuff over here. You can see there's some fossil fragments over there. This looks like an ice biome in this little bit of abyssite there. This is still pretty cool, actually. Then we have another bit of abyssite here, which doesn't look like it's been broken either, which contains magma and a petrified fossil. So this is part of the storyline, which I've not actually done. So it'll be exciting to see what it's all about. But other than that, we found the teleporter for the other planet, which we might go have a sneaky peek on the next episode. I think that would be a good shout. But actually, I really like the way that this asteroid's laid out, because we've got our regular biomes just going up and down. So there's loads of stuff that we can do over here without actually breaking the abyssite. This could be a big water tank if we wanted it to be. We could just have a whole bunch of our machineries over here, because the abyssite's not going to leak through the heat. We might want to think about insulating this section here, because the temperature is starting to bleed through here, as you can see. So maybe that is a project for next week. And again, we can see that we're starting to bleed heat here as well, which it's not bad heat. I mean, we're only talking about 30 degrees in this point, but considering we've got 25 degree base, and some of these things like this don't like anything above 30 degrees, especially the mealwood as well. So we really don't want that to heat up, which it's already at 27 over here. So yeah, we definitely want to sort that out. So maybe that's what we'll do next episode. We'll go have a look what's on the other planet, and we'll start thinking about insulating our base from all the different temperatures. Yeah, any ideas for anything else? Definitely let me know in the comment section down below. Obviously, we have a week between each of these episodes, so there's plenty of time to take your feedback and we can have a look at it. So with that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.